Hello and welcome to Pulse. I'm Seamus,
I'm Sean.
and it is March, and we are smack dab in the middle of St. Patrick's Day month.
Yes.
so we started off with Grey Coast as our March 1st kickoff of March for St. Patrick's month,
Right.
and then what did we do next? This.
Yeah.
So here we are now at Whiskey 101. Wanted to kind of stop and kind of review the different Irish whiskeys. And so the definition of Irish whiskey is whiskey, of course, that's made in Ireland, either Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland. It is triple distilled normally, and it can't be distilled at more than, I'm going to say 190 proof. It's like 189.6 or something like that, but can't be distilled higher than that. And then of course they get watered down to 80. Most get watered down to 80% in the bottle.
80 proof.
80 proof, right. 80 proof, right. And another thing that needs to happen is it needs to be aged 3 years in wooden barrels. Doesn't say what kind of wood, it just says wooden barrels. So that's the important part of Irish. To be a little bit more complicated definition is to be distilled of mash of cereal grains, which is like barley, wheat, rye, corn. I think those are your cereal grains. Again, whether it's malted or unmalted. Usually I hear of barley, but then like with Frey Ranch, we've seen malted corn.
Right.
And malted oats.
Right.
Forgot oats.
That's right.
So that's a possibility as well. But anyway, for Irish whiskey, again, it's triple distilled. There's no additives. The only additive that can be added to it, not necessarily derived from a whiskey barrel, because they put a lot of these in sherry casks or rum casks or something like that to draw the flavor out, but nothing else can be added except coloring. So they do allow them to add coloring to give them the brownish coloring.
Okay.
So, but nothing else. So next we'll cover the types. There's 4 basic types of Irish whiskey. Number 1 is a Irish malt whiskey, which is 100% malted barley. Nothing else in it. Just straight that. Triple distilled, stored for 3 years, all that stuff. But the grain used is straight. And then, like this Sexton, I think this is aged in a sherry casks afterwards to give it a little bit more flavor. So we'll be tasting that shortly. The next is a grain whiskey. This is Teeling's single grain, and it was 95.
Right. 95% corn and 5% malted barley.
Malted barley. Okay. This almost might be bourbon. I've never tried it, so
Right.
it's going to be a first time for us. It says here that it's got to be at least 30% malted barley, but that apparently isn't true anymore, maybe, or I don't know. So that's the grain. It was supposed to be 30% malted barley, and then the rest of it can be anything else that's unmalted. So that's a single grain or grain whiskey. This is a single grain. The single part of this, the words in this whiskey, it means that it's from one distiller. That's all that means. If it's multiple distillers combining to create the whiskey, then you can't say single. So, and then next up is our pot still whiskey, which is at a minimum of 30% malted barley and 30% unmalted barley. The rest of it can be whatever. Right. And again, if it's single, like this one is, this is single pot still, it means that they produce all the whiskey that goes into it. They're 30% unmalted and 30% malted, and then could be corn, wheat, not sure. Then the last but not least is blended, which means it's a combination of those 3. Like Jameson here, I believe, is a combination of malted, unmalted, and grain.
Okay.
And so that's all 3 of them mixed together. But I believe it is single. They do it all in-house, so they are single. So they don't have to say blended, it just says Irish whiskey. You have to say blended Irish whiskey if your whiskey is from 2 different distilleries
Okay.
or more. So that's your whiskey types. So let's get to tasting and just see what we notice different about them and all that kind of stuff. We're only pouring 1 glass of each, so we're gonna share. We're related, so it's okay. You want to pour that side? We haven't had Sexton for. We had this last year in our. Was this last year?
I believe it was last year, yeah.
Last year in our Irish. I can't remember how I did. I thought it did pretty good actually, but
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It was very unique.
Yeah, it
That's
was
for
unique.
sure.
I know that. I remember that. We had that Kinsale too, and I think Kinsale just kind of dominated the last spot.
Yeah.
So nothing else was even close to the bottom. Hmm. Right. Okay. Wow, that section looks a little darker.
Yeah.
Okay, so nose. Go ahead and nose on this end. Yeah, I get that that's malted. I think it's the malted grain that gives it such a funk.
Okay.
I really do. I'm just learning that. So. Ooh, yeah, this is like a bourbon.
Yeah.
With 95% corn, come on. That's crazy. Super sweet. That's a sweet smelling.
The Jameson and Redbreast are pretty close. The
Yeah.
Redbreast is a little more harsh on the nose,
Mhm.
a little more ethanol, but not
Right.
bad necessarily.
And these two are actually probably made at the same distillery,
Right.
Milton, right?
Yeah.
I think Jameson does have a small distillery up in Dublin area,
Okay.
but for the most part, it's in Middleton. The distilleries in Ireland, Ireland's smaller than most states,
Right.
and the distillery count from top to bottom is humongous.
Yeah.
Bushmills, of course, is probably the most known in Northern Ireland.
Right.
There's an argument between Bushmills and Kilbeggan of who's the oldest. Bushmills is definitely the oldest licensed whiskey distiller in Ireland, in the world actually, apparently. Licensed, but then for some reason Kilbeggan says that they didn't, just like over 100 years, Bushmills didn't do anything with the license. I'm like, I find that hard to believe.
Right.
You get a license to do something and make some money, I don't think you wait 100 years to get it going.
Right.
Usually.
Yeah.
So it's up in the air. I'm not gonna complain. I have to say that I've had Bushmills more than I've had Kilbeggan.
Sure.
The only Kilbeggan we've had is, I think, Connemara, which is this one right here, which is a single pot still, but it's peated. So it's got a very unique flavor, almost Scotch-like in its flavor because of the peat. But again, it's like this one, where it's a single malt Irish whiskey. So, who cares?
Yeah.
Which one's older, I guess.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is what do you like.
Right.
And apparently, Bushmills is stepping up. So,
Yeah.
that's all I can say
Right.
at this point. So, let me smell Redbreast.
Okay.
Let me know what you think of that one. Ooh, man. I like the
Oh yeah.
smell on the wood smell on this one. This is in the sherry, but right?
Yes.
Nice
Or
sherry.
yeah, sure.
This is like a spicy sweetness.
Oh.
I've never noticed before.
Okay.
That's pleasant. It's so pleasant. That is not pleasant to me.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it.
You like the
I like the smell of it.
This has this funky pot smell. It's not my bag. But I mean, I think Sexton did okay in our ranking. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't
Yeah.
even. I don't think it was in the bottom half. I don't know. Can't remember.
Like we said earlier, I remember Sexton just being very unique.
Right.
I remember Dickel, 8 Year, I believe, was very unique.
Right.
In terms of, believe it's bourbon.
Yeah, it was the bourbon we had from Dickel. Yeah,
Right.
I know Dickel normally makes a Tennessee whiskey, but
Right.
we had their bourbon.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try this one.
Okay.
Yeah, the flavor on this is good, and it's probably the sherry
Yeah.
cask that it's aged in, right? Or Spanish sherry, yeah. So I think that's what saves this for me, because I don't know, that pot still funk, because the smell doesn't appeal, but
Okay.
the taste. I'm gonna try it.
Do Jameson.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna like Jameson.
Yeah.
I've always liked Jamie.
It's pretty regular now. Used to be my go-to,
Right.
but now that we've opened up, it's sort of, it's fine.
I think the Black Barrel
Yeah.
Jameson Black Barrel's kind of ruined us for a regular Jameson. The Black Barrel's, I believe, is so much better. Not that Jameson is bad, it's just Black Barrel's better, and for the price nowadays, it's just Jameson's kind of expensive in a way.
Yeah. The Sexton is better than I remember.
Yeah.
I used to have like a dark chocolate on the finish.
Oh, okay.
Not as much this time.
Okay.
It's a lot better this time. So
Oh wow.
maybe it did better than we remember.
Yeah, I think it did better. My recollection is it did better than I thought
Mhm.
it was gonna do. But yeah, just the nose, like I said, is not my thing. But the flavor is pretty good.
Yeah. I like the nose and the flavor this time around.
Yeah. And I don't get the Irish whiskeys enough.
Yeah.
It's really only in March that we do these. So,
Right.
all right, I'm gonna try this one. This one, never had this one before. Again, this is Teeling single grain. So we're gonna see. This one's very burnt. Oh man, it's very floral. Smell this real quick and tell me what you think on the nose, because to me it's floral. It's almost flowery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of smells like a gin a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I get that juniper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bright.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna taste it. It does not taste Irish.
Redbreast.
Oh, no. What's the proof on this real quick? I'm sorry. 46.
Like 92.
92. It kind of reminds me of Travelers.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's very smooth. There's no heat, no nothing. Mm. It's got an interesting flavor though.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 95% corn, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's got that sweet corn. Not quite mellow corn flavor,
Sure.
where you're chewing on the husk,
Right. Right.
versus the corn on the cob from Frey Ranch's malted corn. But this is close. It's kind of nice. It's just not like an Irish or a bourbon actually for me.
Right.
It's like just
To me, like Tullamore Dew
Mhm.
or Jameson Redbreast, kind of the baseline Irish.
Standard, yeah.
Kind of has that typical, maybe it's pot still sort of
Mhm.
taste to it. The Redbreast is a step or two up from
Jameson.
regular Jameson.
okay.
And then once you get into like Black Barrel, Sexton, I wouldn't think is an Irish right away.
Right. Oh, I to me it's straight Irish, but it's definitely got some other that sherry
That sherry,
sweetness. Yeah,
yeah.
a little more. But I think this is sherry too, right?
I believe so. Or
Sherry casks. Yeah. Oh, but there's just like you get the oaky, you get the smell of the wood from this one. Woodsy.
I don't see sherry on here. Oh, there it is.
It says
Yeah.
sherry nose, but I believe
Oh,
it is
okay.
sherry. That's just super smooth. I don't know, and enjoyable. But that is too, I must say.
Oh, that's really good.
Isn't it?
It's kind of got like a cinnamon
Okay.
flavor to it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the corn, but
Okay.
I can tell it's corn on the aftertaste, but
Yeah.
it's got a bit of a spice to it. I like that.
So we just did Teeling wood series
Right.
where we did a couple of Teelings that were done in Portugal oak,
Right.
Portuguese oak,
And chinkapin.
Chinkapin, which is an American oak that I don't know where. I've never heard of it before. So.
Right.
And they were both really good. The Portugal I think was a little bit better.
Yeah, I think we agree.
And I absolutely love Teeling Small Batch.
Mhm.
It's one of the best, my favorites. I know it was top 1 or 2, maybe top 3 of our
First year.
was our first year. Okay, and like Sean was saying, Black Barrel and Redbreast 12. Redbreast 12 was our winner last year.
Right.
Black Barrel was the year before, but then they faced off, and Black Barrel was still number 1.
Right.
So
Yeah.
this year, after we decide on our favorite new Irish that we pick out of the 4 that are coming up, what's in that? We have
It's Green Spot, Rider's Tears, Black Bush from Bushmills,
Bushmills,
and then we have Row and Co.
Row and Co. Okay, so the winner of that is going to go ahead and face off against Redbreast 12 and Black Barrel.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So anyway, I'm digging on the Irish right
Yeah,
now. It's like
I'm surprised because I was kind of worried about the Sexton.
Right.
Going back to it,
I was
it was
too.
much better this time around. I was worried, when we started this channel, we were big Irish fans, and we sort of slipped into the bourbon sphere
Right, definitely.
pretty hard.
Right.
So going back to Irish, it's a little, it's more mellow.
Yeah.
The mostly 80 proof. It's easier to drink. Or I'm looking for sort of that rye feel
Yeah.
without it being there. So things like
Right.
Teeling, it's got a little bit of a cinnamon kind of kick to it.
Mhm.
That's clearly the corn at work. Doesn't necessarily taste like an Irish though, but
For the Teeling? Or you mean
the single grain.
Sexton? Oh, the single grain.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't taste like an Irish at all.
No.
It's too sweet and doesn't have enough of the barley
Right.
flavor probably that makes it Irish.
To me, the Irish doesn't have that sort of spicy kick typically. That one the corn comes through as cinnamon for me for whatever reason right now.
Yeah.
And I'm digging it. So.
Yeah, if I tasted that blind, I would say it's a bourbon.
Right.
I would think it's a bourbon. I wouldn't think it's Irish.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, boy, that was kind of smoky now. It's amazing how, after you have a few other different brands and you start going back, it really changes the flavor of these, man.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. Yeah, that's good, man. They're all good now.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. Wow. Okay, so should we try to pick a favorite from this, or does it matter?
I don't think it matters
Okay.
necessarily.
Okay.
But if you had to choose.
If I had to choose, I don't know now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
having a hard time.
Mm.
Hold on.
Okay. Whiskey 101 just turns into a typical review here.
That's what it's all about anyway, right?
Yeah.
Is it really about knowing what a whiskey is?
Right.
Care you drink it.
It's just like what's the oldest distillery in
Yeah.
Ireland? Who cares?
Who cares?
I'm as a consumer, I just care
You know,
about the product.
If I lived in the 16 to 1700, I might care.
Right.
Right now, they're both in works. I mean, they've both been through some hard times. There was prohibition at certain times, world wars,
Right.
all kinds of stuff that put them out of business, slowed down business, all kinds of stuff, and they have survived. So, thank goodness they've
Internal conflict.
survived. Yeah, yeah, internal conflict.
For real?
Hello. I remember going into a bar and depending on the 2 Irish whiskeys, Bushmills or Jameson, whichever one you choose, kind of told you where you were at in Ireland. I mean, because if you were, and it was funny because my friend was a total Bushmills fan, but I I couldn't because that was the Protestants. That was the Protestant English. And I had to be Jameson because it was the Catholic Irish. But then look at me now.
Right.
I like them both.
Yeah.
Who cares? Can't we all just get along?
Right.
I'm loving all of them, but
Yeah. I'd actually say Jameson is hitting the softest.
it's the
at
lowest
the
one you
moment.
see.
Yeah, at the moment.
I would say it is too.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I would say probably for price wise.
Right.
You know, Sexton is probably $30. How much was the Teeling? 40.
That one's 40, 50.
Yeah, and this is 60, I believe.
Mhm.
So makes sense. It's the lowest hitter in terms of price.
I don't know yet because this was a gift from my sister.
That's right.
She picked it up in Ireland.
I did look up the MSRP.
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
50 something or up to 60.
And I have to say, on the red breast, I've tried the cast strength,
Right.
and this was a couple of years ago. I did that on St. Patrick's Day. I did red breast 12, and I did red breast cast strength, and then I did row and go. The 12 was my favorite.
Right.
Cast strength is so much more expensive, and to me, it wasn't worth it. So that's my take. Take it or leave it.
Right.
All I can say is these are all good.
Yeah.
They are all good. I mean, we definitely picked, I think, some good ones. I don't want to go to Connemara.
No, that's all right.
We'll stay away. As for a favorite, you know, the one that's kind of sticking out for me right now is Teeling.
Same, yeah.
Because it's different.
Right.
You know, this, with all the whiskeys we've been trying lately, it's definitely been the standouts have been the ones that just do something a little different to kind of
Set themselves
change,
apart.
set themselves apart from the rest of them.
Mhm.
Now I know, the Teeling small batch, it was so good we blew through that.
Right.
We emptied it, so I bought a new one.
Yeah.
But and I'm looking forward to trying it again because I haven't had it for a while now. But where am I going with this? This one, this is very good. Man, it's just got a unique flavor. It's tastes kind of like a bourbon, but it's not like, oh yeah, that's a bourbon.
Right.
It's not like that.
I wouldn't think that it was a bourbon necessarily, but maybe an American whiskey.
It's too sweet, really, to be
okay.
for me to be a bourbon.
Okay.
And it's missing the
Well, it was giving you sort of a traveler feel.
yeah, that
right?
Traveler, which
So-
was more of just a very easy drinking
Right.
whiskey.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
sort of that. I think I've said it before. Sort of the newer age of American bourbon.
But this one's better. This is
Okay.
better because it's got a lip. It's got something else going on that the Traveler didn't, or whatever.
Okay.
Maybe it's probably the malted barley.
Yeah.
The malted barley is giving a little bit more sweetness, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It smells like a gin. Sexton, hold on. Yeah, the taste of this, awesome. The smell,
Yeah.
based on nose, it's last place, but based on flavor, it's probably, man.
At least third.
Okay, based on nose. Based on nose. This one's first, second, third, fourth
Okay.
on the nose.
Okay.
Oh man. I think at the moment, this is just a slice in time because that's the way it works. Excuse me. Because of the moment and the slice in time, this is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's different.
Yeah.
Number 2, it's a toss-up between Sexton and Redbreast.
Right.
I kind of like the Sexton is kind of giving me this a little bit more balance. Like I've said before, that's kind of where I'm at. I like a balanced.
Yeah, the Redbreast kind of takes you back to your typical Irish,
Right.
sort of to an extent like a baseline, and then Sexton sets itself apart, like we were saying. But Sexton and Redbreast, between setting itself apart and taking like the typical Irish formula and elevating it, they're neck and neck.
Right.
I understand that for sure.
Right. Okay, so there you have it. This is the Irish 101. Just what is Irish whiskey? And again, we've talked about single malt, single grain, pot still, and blended. And which is your favorite? Let us know. We're very interested. These were all super good today.
Yeah,
I think we picked some of the cream of the crop of the different styles of Irish whiskey. And again, we haven't done very many single malts. And you know, a lot like Scotch, which is single malt Scotches are very expensive.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it gets kind of out of hand, and most of these guys don't do a single malt. They do a blend to get flavor and get people liking them. But this was very good. Again, on the nose, not so good, but definitely on the taste was really good. First time trying a single grain. I'm totally impressed.
Yeah.
Super good. This one is good. Buskers does make a single grain. It's the only other one I saw online I was able to find that might make it. They had kind of a combination of this one. They did like the 3-pack of single malt, single grain, and pot still. You know, small little thing, but I wasn't able to find it. So I don't know what that's like. But of course, Redbreast 12, one of my favorites. Jameson, always a go-to.
Oh yeah.
And so, again, these are great. Let us know what you think. Which ones of these have you tried? Which would you like? Are there any others you've tried of these different styles that you would suggest to us? That would be great. I'd love to hear from you. Get ready for our St. Patrick's Day picks. We got 4 new whiskeys that we're trying blind that we've never had before. And looking forward to that. Other than that, what do you want to cheers out with?
You want Teeling?
Sure.
Okay. I'll do Redbreast.
Okay. All right. So, Shlanta, to your health. Like and subscribe. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Month.
All right.
We'll see you later.